Alrighty. Hi, everyone. My name is Chisomaga Ekwueme, but you can just call me Chisom if you'd like. And today I'll be sharing with you all my experience with the internship and scholarship process as a pre-medical student. And like Brittany said, if you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me or type in the chat, and I'll be sure to help answer. So first, about me, I am a third year biological sciences major here at DVC, hoping to transfer next year with degrees in biology, natural sciences, psychology, and a certificate in chemistry. I am a pre-med student interested in serving disadvantaged populations, and part of that stems from my experience being a Nigerian American. And I've been fortunate enough to receive a couple internship and scholarship offers, so I'm so excited to share with you all how I did that. So are there any questions before I get started? All right. Okay, so with scholarships, I've applied twice, and both times I received multiple scholarship offers. And I made sure to apply through the general application and through external organizations as well, the ones that DVC compiles. And just in regards to the requirements, you must be enrolled in at least 6 units at DVC for both fall 2020 and spring 2021. And you must have a GPA of a 2.0 or above. And for the additional scholarships, those vary in regards to financial need, declaration of a particular major, or community service, and other requirements. And in regards to the components of the DVC scholarship application, the first is the general application. And this is where you get to fill out some basic questions on your background, such as your name, your age, high school, income, units, career interests, and so on, and just general information about yourself so the scholarship committee can match you to scholarships you qualified for. And they'll also ask you, take note of this, they'll ask you your top 3 leadership experiences and then your top 3 volunteer opportunities. So you just have to describe your position and your responsibilities, and you also need to attach your college transcript. The application opens up by October 30th. So I recommend to start working on the general application as soon as it opens up. It shouldn't take too long. It's just filling information about yourself. So I'd say if you're on it, 2 hours, and then it's just over with, you're done, you have that. You should probably ask someone to review it for you as well, just to make sure you filled out everything correctly. And yeah, so next part are the essays. And for the DVC scholarship application, something I am especially really grateful for is that they only require you to write 1 essay. So you write 1 essay for all the scholarships, and the essay prompt is, the same for all the scholarships. You have to write about your educational and career goals, your financial need, your community service experience, your campus involvement, leadership experience, and any strengths that make you a solid applicant. And they also give you the option of talking about any unique or life-changing experiences you might have encountered. And the writing process can be particularly challenging as you might not exactly know what to write about. So for me, I looked up a lot of examples online just to start, just to get a sense of what the expectation was. And they're basically asking you to write a compelling enough story that people will pay you for it. And I know that might not make it any better, but what I did, I used bullet points. So write bullet points of the various components of the question so you don't miss out on anything, and then simply just answer the question. So as opposed to thinking of it as, oh, this huge chunky essay that I have to write, just make it a couple questions that you have to answer, and then answer those questions, and you can later synthesize it into a story. And just trust me on that, it'll be way easier that way. Once I started doing that, the papers just kept coming like that. And yeah, answer the question first and synthesize it into a cohesive story later. And in regards to how long it took, I took about a week to write my essay, just the draft of the essay with the bullet points. And then after that, I just kept on working on it. And I did this during winter break. But if you can start drafting your essay during the semester, because it is due February 12th, if you can start during the semester, just the more time you have to do it, the better for you. And also for me, I was sort of confident in my writing and didn't have anyone read it, don't do that. Don't do that. Just have people read it. There are people here to help you. Who knows what other opportunities I could have gotten if I had people read it. So just make sure that you get help. Your parents, your counselors, me, Maitri, Brittany, whoever you want, anyone, just have someone read it. There's always something to improve on, and you might not always see that. So yeah. And then also note that DVC also has some scholarship opportunities from external organizations that you can apply to. And these will require different essays, so it's not as simple as the general application. But I would assume that because it's more work, not many people are applying to these opportunities. So please apply, take advantage of those. You have to manually search through the ones that you apply to and then answer the prompt. And some of the prompts I had to answer are why I'm interested in the biomedical sciences, or how my career goals are reflected in my coursework. So they're not too crazy, not tell me you don't have to write a poem or something. It's just, they're just asking about you. It should just talk about you. And another tip, make deadlines for yourself. I want to have my essay done by this day. Please, please do not write your essay the night it is due. I have been there. I have done that. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. Don't do it to yourself. Just give yourself time to get help. Yeah. So does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. For the letters of rec, you need at least one from a DVC faculty member. Where would you find the general app on it? DVC? Yes, so if you just type in DVC scholarships, they'll take you to, the question was where would I find the general application? Yes, if you just type in DVC scholarships, it'll take you to the portal where you can fill out your general application and then additional essays as well. And I can help you with that if you email me later. But for the letters of rec, you need at least one from a DVC faculty member, and the other can be from anyone who knows you professionally or academically. For me, I asked 2 DVC professors, my English 122 professor and my Chem 120 professor, and I asked them in person, had a mini interview with them so they could get to know me better. And if you can, if you have one, send them your resume or just a list of activities that you've done so they can get a sense of what kind of applicant you are. Also, make sure to check in on them regularly, every 2 weeks if possible, just to ask if they need anything, be as helpful and as available as possible. And one thing I felt I wish someone told me is don't be afraid to ask someone because you think they're too busy. Because if you really feel, how often can you apply to? It's once a year. So every year it opens up. But don't be afraid to, the general application opens up once a year in case you didn't see the question. But don't be afraid to ask someone because you think they might be too busy. As long as you feel like they can vouch for you and they know you well enough, ask them. Because if you ask, yes, Brittany, if you ask early enough, I'm pretty sure you're gonna say yes. So just always try out. And after you have all your components, you submit your application on or before the 12th or 13th of February, thereabout. And you just wait for an email by the end of April. You'll get a separate email for every scholarship you win. And in the event that you do win, you will have to write a thank you card to the donors, attend the scholarship ceremony, claim your scholarship through Insight. And this isn't a requirement, but I hope you do so. Say thank you to everyone that helped you. Box of chocolate, best teacher, mug, flowers, whatever you think they might like, whatever you can afford, at least a card, just to show that you appreciate them and so you can ask for a letter in the future. Why applied? Well, it's free money. It's free money. They want to help you. They're giving it out to you. It's free money. Just try it out. $1,000 here, 2,000 there, 500 here. It really does add up. And if you need it, you really just have to tell them about you and they pay you for it. It's really, DVC has really made it so easy. So I definitely would recommend you try it out. Does anyone have any questions? No? All right, well, that is it for scholarships. So if there are any questions on how to apply or anything related, I will move on to internships.
I have,
So, oh, yeah.
Chisom, I have a question. So, for all the scholarship, is that one application or there are multiple applications for the scholarships?
Right. So there's the general application that will match you to a lot of scholarships, and that's what most people apply to. But DVC also provides external, so it's scholarships that aren't from DVC, but you can apply through DVC, and you have to write additional essays for those. So the general application will match you to a bunch of scholarships. You could just do that. But if there are any external organizations that provide scholarships that you qualify for, I would also recommend applying to those too.
I also have another question. I know, like, this is the process of application for the scholarship, but knowing the questions that are asked in the scholarship application, do you think there are some things that student can work on ahead of time to make themselves a better candidate for
Mm,
the process?
yeah, 100%. I'd say, well, first of all, they really emphasize leadership, community service, and things that make you unique. So those officer positions at the clubs, run for them. Any passion project that you have, do it. Definitely spend your time helping other people, communities, any organizations, just general service. You should definitely try to be building your application because the more opportunities you have experience, the higher your chance of winning a scholarship. Um, for me, I'm very ish involved. So I am involved with BBC's Alpha Gamma Sigma Honor Society. I'm the vice president right now, but I was the PR, public relations officer, for a year prior. And that was like, that's just one example of opportunities at DVC that you could do. So any clubs, definitely try to run, even if you can't get a leadership position, be as involved as possible. Those volunteering opportunities that they offer, go to them, compile your hours. They want to see dedication. So anything that you care about that you feel like you could talk about a lot and you could dedicate a huge chunk of your life to, find that. For me, I'm really passionate about environmental justice and food equity, so I focus my time towards opportunities related to that. So as long as you can have some sort of narrative, don't be a box checker. As long as you can have something that you care about, something you would be willing to put your time towards, they will see that, oh, this person's interesting. They like this. They're passionate about this. And um, yeah, so just find your passion project, go for those leadership opportunities at schools, at the clubs, and that would be my advice.
Thank you.
All right. So in regards to my internship experience, internship applications, they open up about late November to early December, at least for the ones I applied to. So I'd recommend starting to compile your list around August. And applications close about the end of January to the very beginning of March. And for internships that will require interviews, expect to do those about March or April. And internship decisions really varied for me. I wasn't able to pick up on a trend, especially due to COVID. Um, a lot of the internship decisions were delayed, but most internships will begin mid to late July and end early to mid August. They can be 4 weeks long, 6 weeks long, 8 weeks long, sometimes more, sometimes less. It really depends. And does anyone have any questions on the timeline? Awesome. Let's go. So parts of the internship application process. The first step is actually finding these opportunities, which I would say is probably like one of the more difficult parts. I recommend looking up organizations or schools and seeing what opportunities they have. So for me, I focused my energy towards schools as opposed to organizations. I focused on Stanford, I focused on USC, I focused on UC Davis, UC Berkeley, UCSF as well. So just schools that just Google a school's website and see what internships they offer. That's a great way to find opportunities. If you're pre-med, I recommend checking out the NAAHP website. That's the NAAHP website. And also the AAMC website. They have a lot of opportunities for internship opportunities and research all year, various states. And if you're into psychology, if you're interested in psychology, check out the APA website. That's also a good place to start. And if you're just a STEM student looking for research, check out the National Science Foundation. They have a lot of opportunities as well. And for me, I just found all my opportunities through Googling. I just Googled, search up keywords, dive deeper than the surface, go to the second, third, fourth page. Don't just stick to the first page of Google. Just that's basically what I did. I just researched so I could compile a good list that I felt confident about. And the thing is, most of the opportunities that I found, MESA ended up sharing eventually. So MESA is a great resource. They will help you a lot. There's a lot of opportunities that they provide along the year. Just take note of those. Was there a question? I heard something. No? Okay. And the Career Center is also a good place to start. Attending conferences at the institutions you want to intern at is a great way to get your feet in the door, because for the internship I ended up choosing, right? And for the internship that I ended up choosing, a lot of my cohort had attended the summer conference in Stanford, and I don't think it's a coincidence that you know, they already made their face known before they actually started the internship. I didn't do it, but looking back, that would probably be a great way to increase my chances of getting accepted. So if there are any conferences at the schools you're interested in interning at, definitely attend those. Those are a great way to make your face known and also find more opportunities. Next step is to create a table. And in my table, I put down the name of the internship, details, so what the internship is about. Is it pre-med shadowing? Is it research? Will you be working on a project? Then after that, write down the requirements of applicants. So, and how long the internship will be, the start and end date of the internship, how much money they'll pay you, your stipend, if there's any, when the application window opens and closes. And lastly, any challenges or issues you might have with applying to the internship. So maybe it's a little bit of a commute, or you have to pay, or you need 3 recommenders and you only have 2 so far. Just any obstacles that you foresee yourself encountering, write those down so you're always aware of them. And yeah, any questions? All right. So I
Oh,
started.
I have a question. So do you know like when most like applications are open for internships for like the following summer, not this summer, but next summer?
Right. So I would guess that it's still the same unless COVID has really messed things up. Uh, they usually open about November to December, so really soon. Yeah.
Yeah. So for like the next summer, that's when they start opening, November and December.
Right.
Okay.
So really soon they'll start opening up. And where was I? But yeah, so I started compiling my list in August, and I was able to find 6 internships that aligned with my goals. I say that should be your minimum number. I had a lot of challenges with internships, so I wasn't able to apply to them all, right? But if you can, do so. Aim for 5 or more internship applications, because the process is competitive, and you should definitely try to have as many options as possible. And when choosing what to apply to, make sure you have a safe choice. Make sure you have an internship that you know you'll most likely get into. So regardless of what happens, you you know you're going to be doing something. For me, that was an internship called Mentoring in Medicine and Science. If you're pre-med, check that out. It's in Oakland for it's about clinical shadowing or something. I applied to that as my safe choice. Then applied to a couple of target options. So internships that you feel like, yeah, I have a good shot, but then again, it could go either way. Something that's a target that you can work towards. Definitely apply to those. For me, that was the Corey research internship at UCSF. I applied to that. I thought, it's competitive, but I think I have a shot. And then apply to a couple of reach options, because why not? For me, I had four reach options. I definitely think my ratio was a little skewed in that sense. You should probably have more safe and target than reach options. But I applied to four at Stanford. I applied to the Stanford Plastic Surgery Research Internship, which I got an interview and acceptance for. I applied to the Stanford Canary Crest Cancer Research Opportunity. I did not get a response, so I'm going to assume that's the rejection. Okay. And I applied to this joint program. So that was like a 2-in-1 kind of situation, SREC and SKIP. SKIP was the one I eventually went with. And I got an interview and acceptance for those two. So that was also the most rigorous application, and I will talk about that more later. But yeah, they were my top choices. I got an interview, which was great, and SREC got canceled due to COVID, so I hope I can do that next year. So definitely apply to a wide range of competitiveness, preferably, yes. I'll write them in the chat later so you guys can know what opportunities I applied to. But definitely apply to a wide range of competitiveness, preferably more safe than target options, safe and target than reach options. And I didn't do it, it still worked out. Yeah, so about 3 of my internships required a resume, and it was my first time creating one. So I looked up a lot of examples. If you can ask people that you think know what they're doing to show you their resume, do that. I didn't really have many people to ask then, so I didn't, but I definitely would looking back. And your resume should contain your school, education level, GPA, your leadership experience, community service experience, awards or scholarships, and any conferences you've attended, any publications you might have, any jobs you've held, any team or technical, professional, lab skills you might have, certification, basically anything that you feel will make you, anything that's relevant to the internship and will show that you are a strong applicant. Be intentional. So don't put things there just to fill up space. Make sure it's actually related to the internship. Don't say, yeah, I was dance team captain and then I was sous chef. If you're applying to a biomedical science research internship, it's not really, it's more like, okay, what are my skills and why do I deserve to be here? So just focus on things that are related to the internship you're applying to. Also, stay away from things you did in high school. Your resume should reflect who you are now as an applicant, as opposed to who you were 2, 3, 4. I mean, in high school, basically. So unless you did something absolutely revolutionary in high school, you cured cancer or an equivalent, leave it off. Focus on who you are now. And like I said before, make sure your resume is tailored to the place you're applying to. So don't just change the header for each application, for each internship. Actually go through your experiences and make sure they match where you're applying to. Make sure you get people to read it. So ask your counselor, ask Matri, ask Brittany, ask people at the Career Transfer Center, ask your mom, ask your mentors, ask me, ask your friends, whoever. Just get people to read it, because your resume is really never done. There's always room for improvement. And for this in particular, I definitely had a lot of people read it. It was my first time. I didn't know what I was doing. Also, make it professional. So use blue, green, or black. Don't do the orange and the pink. Just keep it professional, nice, clean. Stick to one page, because you're most likely early on in your educational path, and they really don't spend that much time looking at your resume. So try to make it concise. Also, when describing your experiences, use the correct verbiage. So if you're describing a past experience, let's say you tutored kids, say tutored children ages 9 to 17 in pre-calc and algebra. Don't say tutoring, tutors, whatever, tutored for past experiences, and for present experiences that you're still doing, say tutor children for from ages 9 to 17 in pre-calculus or calculus. Don't do tutors, don't do tutoring, don't say just tutor, and if it's past, tutored. Also, focus on what you changed through the position or how it changed you. So instead of saying that you sorted files and cleaned wheelchairs, focus on the impact you made in that position. So say you transform the filing system from mechanical to electronic, say that how you changed the position or how it changed you. So let's say you gained a great understanding of the anatomy of the hospital. That's how it changed you, right? So focus on the impact. And yeah, hit them with all the achievements, what you've done, as opposed to how you made an impact, as opposed to what you did. And also, for me, I never stopped working on my resume. I worked on it from the moment I started looking at opportunities to the moment I turned my application in. So give yourself time and be patient, because it's going to take time to get to a version that you're satisfied with. Any questions?
What if you don't have any like prior experience that's related to the internship that you want to put on your resume?
Yeah. If you don't have any prior experience, you should probably focus more on getting experience, because it's going to be hard to actually gain acceptance if you don't have any experience. But at that point, if you have nothing else to put there, might as well. But I definitely say, instead of turning in a resume that doesn't fit the criteria, focus on working on your resume first and getting those experiences. Can I answer your question?
Can I add something to it, Chisom?
Yeah.
Was it Chris who asked the question?
No, Miss Maitri, it's me, Sergio.
Sergio. Hi, Sergio. Okay. I was under the misconception of Chris asking the question. Even if you have anything like where you have helped in a STEM related field, those experiences actually count, and then you build on this experience to lead to internship. So if you have anything of that kind, or even volunteered in STEM related activities, um, those are good things to put in your application.
Right. Right. As long as it's related in some way and it's relevant, then put it on there. But if it's like totally, has nothing to do with where you're going, I'd suggest to stay away from that. And for your essay, this will take the most time. So I recommend you start drafting little by little during the fall semester, and then try to make it gel during the winter break. Use the bullet point strategy that I talked about. That really helped. So let's say the question is, what was the greatest challenge, and how did you overcome it, and how did you use it to your advantage to succeed? There's a lot of different aspects to that question. And to ensure that you answer everything, just break it down into pieces and ask yourself questions that you can answer, as opposed to writing a whole essay. And yeah, so some examples of the questions you'll have to answer, or at least I had to answer, are: what experiences have shaped your career goals? What are your academic successes and any personal experiences that have shaped your goals? What makes you unique from other students? Any social, cultural, or educational barriers you might have experienced? And what you expect to gain by participating in this program. And there's usually a lot of overlap in these questions, so a lot of times I could use a portion of one of my essays for another essay, so that saves time. Once you've done it once, you're really just repeating yourself after that. And the length of these essays, some are 350 words, some are 2,000 words. It really varies by the program. And yeah, so just start drafting during fall, wrap it up during December, and get as many people to read it before February. Any questions? Awesome. So for the letters of rec, I asked two instructors who I felt knew how good of a student I was, and I ensured to ask them on time. So I'd say October is a good time to ask for a letter. You can do it in person, you can do it over email. I asked over email for one and in person for the other. And if you're thinking about doing it over email, just say how much you enjoyed the course and how helpful they were, and then talk about the opportunities you're considering, and then ask them for a strong letter of recommendation. And then after the email, I scheduled a meeting with them to talk about what the requirements and expectations are, and for them to ask me any questions. So I made sure to send them the table. Remember the table we made before? Send that to them. Send them your resume, especially, and then any other extra information that you think will help. I sent them a draft of my personal statement. Remember, we've been drafting this all fall with the bullet points. Send that to them so they have an idea of your story if they don't know already. And I went a little extra and sort of drafted the letter of rec for them. So writing, what do you expect in this letter? How do you want them to portray you as? What qualities do you want them to focus on? That can be really helpful to them and to you, and just make the whole process flow a lot better and go a lot easier. Make sure to check in on them regularly. Send an email, drop into office hours, just ask how things are going, stay in communication. That's really important as well. Does anyone have any questions? Awesome. So for the interviews, I began to get offers around March, and the whole process was really, really nerve-wracking. I had two interviews, which were very different from each other. One was for the STARS Plastic Surgery Research Internship, and it was basically a game where we had four teammates, each assigned a position. Let's say member A is giving a word from the interview board, and they would be asked to draw it. Member B would have to guess the word and pantomime it to member C. Member C would verbally describe what the word was to member D, and member D would have to guess the word. So it was fun, but also, there were four people at Stanford watching us, so it wasn't too great. And then we'd have 5 minutes to talk about what we did wrong, what we could improve, any strategies, just basically re-strategize so we could do better in the next round. We had about 3 rounds of the game. And the whole point of it was just to see how well we worked in a team, how we were able to troubleshoot, and just like our general skills, because research it's a team effort, right? And yeah, the interview was about 20 to 30 minutes long, probably 30 minutes long, and that was it. And for my second interview, that was for the internship that I ended up choosing, the SKIP program, and that was more traditional. There was like one lady, our program director, she was the one that interviewed us, and it was only me, and it was over Zoom as well. So that was also 20 to 30 minutes long, and I just got questions like why I applied, how it aligns with my goals, tell me about yourself, how I work in a team, and what makes me a standout applicant. So just the generic questions you'd find on Google. Know how to answer those, know how to answer what's your greatest challenge, your biggest strength and weakness, just the generic questions. Definitely know how to answer those. Next, know your application. So know every single thing you wrote in there, because everything's fair game. They can ask you about anything. So if there's anything that you feel like, they might be a little confused, know how to answer any questions. Just know your application. I mean, you wrote it, they expect you to know what you wrote there. So just be prepared to get questions related to your application. And have as many mock interviews with friends and family as possible. I did a lot of those. I started preparing for my interview about 2 weeks before the actual interview. So as many mock interviews as possible that you can fit in there, do that. During the actual interview, smile, be lively, just, they need to know that you're excited to be there and you want the position. So definitely be smiley, happy, jolly, all of that. Give that energy, dress to impress. Uh, and don't forget to do your power pose beforehand. That's just basically doing this thing, arms akimbo. That really helps. Adrian?
Sorry, no, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just do your power pose, smile, be nice, and you should be fine if you're prepared. Any questions on the interviews? All right. Well, that's the end of my internship application. So now we'll talk about my experience at Skip. So it was a program at Stanford Medicine this summer. It was an all day, every day, 6 week on Zoom program for students interested in a career in medicine and or research. And it was focused on health advocacy and health activism, providing students with the skills to drive forward an initiative they're passionate about. And as a cohort, we had to take 6 classes in the summer at Stanford. A health advocacy and health activism course, a leadership in medicine course, a medical school admissions course, a human anatomy course, a health disparities research course, and a molecular and cellular biology course. And we had many workshops on professional development. We got opportunities to serve as student liaisons for guest speakers. We had a lot of guest speakers and medcelebrities. Those are medical celebrities, medcelebrities. I like it. And we had a lot of collaboration with programs such as the Kaiser Family Medicine Residency Program, UC Davis Prep Medico Program, even the Mentoring in Medicine and Science Program that was my safe choice that I mentioned before. We got to work with them too. And the program was just really intense. And it was my first struggle with imposter syndrome, right? Imagine coming from DVC and then seeing all these people. I just couldn't help but ask, how did I get here? This is a mistake. But on the flip side, the program really helped me identify my strengths and weaknesses in terms of how I am in the face of great challenges. And although the thought initially terrified me, I learned that I love to speak. I learned that I'm pretty good at writing as well, and research interests me. So, and many other passions I discovered through that program. And I gained so many, uh, I just I gained so many accomplished physician mentors and residents and just people in the field that now I can always talk to, people I could shadow. And one of my favorite projects in the program a was for our health activism course, I believe. We had to design a fact sheet, launch a social media campaign, and have a meeting with a legislator to discuss policy changes for children being detained at the ICE border and the adverse childhood experiences they go through and how that goes on to impact their physical and mental health. We had to do that, and we also had to make public comment at a hearing. Our last assignment for that project was to design a pre-med activism plan, and mine was on environmental justice and food equity, specifically focusing on the quality of food children are being subjected to in public high schools. And it was a newly discovered passion of mine, and my program director liked it so much that she asked me to record it and post it on the Stanford website. That was a great opportunity for me. And I'm also in the process of getting my plan published through the Stanford Just Health Journal, so a publication as well, which is also great. And through the program, I got to be city trained for biomedical research at Stanford and was also able to get contact tracing at Johns Hopkins, which was a great opportunity as well for COVID, contract tracing for COVID. And if you don't know what that means, it's just basically uh, being able to, it's like basically being a social worker in a sense, being able to trace how many people have been infected by COVID and stop the spread that way. I also got some clinical experience. I got to build a great network of physicians. As a part of the program, we had to work on a research project as well. Mine was on Black and white preterm birth disparities and how, sorry, not preterm birth, infant and maternal morbidity disparities. My presentation was on preterm births. And I was fortunate enough to be chosen as the best individual research paper and top 3 for the presentation, which is really awesome because coming in, the imposter syndrome is real, and it was great to get that validation that, you know, not only do I deserve to be here, I can also dominate. And yeah, it was really great. And I got to form a great community of like-minded individuals, friends, now my SCIP family. And this is a screenshot of us at our something, I don't know what it is, but screenshot of us. This is also a picture. We got to tour Stanford when, you know, COVID, so we didn't really get to live on campus. But there was a day where we got to tour Stanford, shadow a emergency medicine physician, get tested for COVID, pick up her packages. That's her only in-person picture. But yeah, I feel like I just feel so blessed to have gotten that opportunity. I would 1000% recommend you to apply to internships or programs like this. It's just, you really have nothing to lose. It's a free application. Just go for it. Mine was over Zoom for 6 weeks, all day, every day, and it still changed my life. So, like, yeah, go for it. That is all. Any questions?
Hmm. So was that like your first internship, or did you like have any others?
That was my first internship, my only internship so far. Hopefully, I'll get to do a couple more. But yeah.
Hmm. And what year do you recommend to actually start your first internship?
ASAP. ASAP. Like, this is my second year. I wish I had done one my first year. I wanted to apply, but I got discouraged and I had no one to push me to do it. So I said, no, no one needs internships. It's fine. I really wish I did. I wish I had done this earlier because there's just so much value to be gotten from them. So as soon as possible, even from high school, start applying to these opportunities because it's just more experience, more connections. Yeah.
And did you have like any other prior experience that applied to this internship, or were you like a clean slate?
I was not a clean slate. um, so I'm pre-med, and pre-meds are known to, you know, do everything. So I did have experiences. So I had shadowing experience. I had a bunch of hours shadowing physicians. I had I was shift leader. I am shift leader at my volunteer organization at Kaiser Permanente. So I had that experience taking care of patients at the hospital, ER, and medical office building. I had that experience. I had experience with clubs, AGS, like I mentioned before, being vice president and PR for a year. What else did I do? I did the DSS note taking too. I got about like 90 hours through that, taking notes for disabled students, being able to help people be successful since I was considered a successful student. Also, my GPA, that was great. Um, yeah, anytime I try to remember what I did, I don't really remember. Also, I did put things from high school just to like fill up space, which is why I don't recommend don't do that. But I did have things from high school. I did a lot in high school as well. Right now, I have a lot of things I'm doing right now, but I'm trying to think of what I was doing then. And I think that's the gist of it, maybe. Yeah. Any other questions?
For your mock interviews, did you just like Google websites where they have like common interview questions? Like when you were practicing?
Yeah, for my mock interviews, I think I didn't really prepare for the generic interview questions. First of all, the one that was a game, no idea. That was a total, whoa, what's going on? So yeah, but for the one that was a generic interview, I kind of focused on knowing my application. And I guess the questions that were asked weren't too hard to answer because it's just questions about you. You're probably talking about those things in your application anyways. So, but now looking back for sure during my next interview process, know the generic questions, the basic questions. You're probably gonna get some of those. So definitely just literally just look up interview questions. Anything that pops up, know how to answer those. Yeah.
Cool, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
This was so insightful, Chisom.
Yeah. Thank
for all
you.
of us.
Thank you. Yeah. It was really, really, really great. Since no other questions, I guess I can talk about my internship a little bit more. It was just so great. I remember the first week was really hard for me because like I told you, imposter syndrome. It was very real, and it will probably happen to you. So just be prepared. It's a part of the process. Um, I felt like quitting a couple times. Oops. It was very intense, especially just over Zoom and not really having, being in like a dorm environment with everyone in your cohort. So if your internship next year is virtual, definitely prepare your mind for that too. It will be hard. Zoom fatigue is real. Having to stay at home, even with school next semester, that's probably going to be the case as well. But reach out. Definitely reach out if you're feeling unmotivated, if you're feeling like you don't deserve to be there. Because once I did, it was just good to get that out. They were like, "You're crazy. What do you mean?" So if you're definitely feeling like you're an imposter, reach out, talk to people. My bet is on your cohort is probably feeling the same way. We all had this long 4-hour rant of how we all felt like we didn't deserve to be there. And it was like, if everyone didn't deserve to be there, then what? Why we a cohort? We got chosen for a reason. Uh, yeah, and if you're pre-med, definitely try to get some research experience. I wasn't able to do so because of COVID. Oh yeah, the internships that I applied to. I will put that in the chat right now. I applied to STARS. That was the plastic surgery research internship. I applied to MIMS. I applied to Corey. Almost went for Corey. That was for research. It's a great opportunity. I applied to Stanford's Community Press program. I saw it, Brittany. What else? And then this one. Yeah. Especially if you're a STEM student, research internships are a great way to get your foot in the door, understand how the lab environment works. I didn't get that opportunity because of COVID, but if you can next year, try for those. Also, finding a research mentor that you can work with, great for letters of rec for grad school or medical school or wherever you want to go. Also, if you could get a publication, that'd be great, right? Publications are always great for your application, for your resume. And what else? reach out, right? I put my email. Let me put my email in the chat for you. In case you're not comfortable asking questions here, definitely email me. I think I reply fast. If you have any questions, if you want me to read your essays, if you want whatever you need, I'm available. I can help. I would love to see more of your faces at those prestigious institutions, right? We need more of you. We need more of us.
I have a quick question about
Mm-hmm.
internships. So if everything didn't go virtual and online, and you were accepted into one of these internships, would you have had to would they have applied housing or something, or would you have to pay for the trip? How does that whole process work out?
For the program I chose, it was a residential program. So if COVID wasn't a thing, I would have had to live at Stanford for 6 weeks. The Corey internship that I would have gone to if I didn't get into the internships I did get into, I believe that was a commuter program. So Corey, you would have to drive there or walk there or BART there or whatever every day. The Stanford Culinary Crest program, they provided housing for whoever needed it. MIMS, I don't think they provided housing. I don't know. What else? STARS, the plastic surgery one. That one was a commuter program. I'd have to drive or walk, or probably can't walk to Stanford, but get there somehow every day.
I see.
So
Okay, so you have to pay for it in some way, one way or another, or they provide it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that's the point of the stipend in some ways. Sometimes the stipend is usually just to cover the cost. Some programs do provide scholarships even for people who can't afford it. I can't remember what internship in particular, but one of the ones I applied to were offering scholarships for people who needed transportation help or anything. But yeah, these programs do give you a stipend. Some of them do give you a stipend. I believe like 4 out of 6 of mine were going to give me money to go there. So that could just be a way to cover your transportation costs, but note that they pay you at the end of it. So you basically have to have some sort of fun to get there. Or if it's a residential program and they pay for you to live there, that's also great.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Of course. Anyone else?
So for STEM students, what advice would you give them to like for people who are still looking for that hands-on work to put on their resume to show that they're actually are capable or have some form of experience, so that way like they can actually perform the job?
First off, if you don't have any experience, I'd recommend applying to programs that don't require any prior experience, right? For the Corey research program, I had 0 STEM skills, 0, nothing, nada. But I was able to portray my interests. I showed them how motivated I was and through my other activities too. So you don't really have to have a huge research resume as long as you apply to programs that don't require that. The Stanford Culinary Crest research program does want people who know what they're doing, hence why I didn't get in. So I definitely suggest applying to programs for people that are beginners, because even for me, I'm still struggling with how do I even get experience? I really don't know. I guess it's true for internships that you get experience, but some internships require experience. So it's kind of a weird circle. um, yeah, so as community college students too, getting research experience, it's just internships. Just apply to internships for people who don't have any prior experience, and that's a great way to get your foot in the door.
And like you said before, we can like Google search like any programs like this, like.
Right, Google search any programs. That's basically what I did. I will put in some good places to start in the chat, the NSF, National Science Foundation. They have a lot of summer programs for STEM students. I was focused on pre-med opportunities, so I didn't really apply to these, but that's a great way to do so. The APA, for anyone interested in neurobiology or psych, anything related. Neuro or psych. The AAMC or NAAHP for pre-meds. And then last but not least, MESA. MESA is great. Use MESA. They have everything. You don't even need to Google search if you use MESA. Just search through MESA. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, that's it. And just thank you for having me. It was a pleasure talking to you all. I really enjoyed it. I love, sending the knowledge. So email me, please. I'll answer. I'll help. I'm here to help.
Thank you, Chisom, for this wonderful information session. And for everyone here to come here and listen to Chisom on a Friday afternoon. And I see many, many potential internship and scholarship recipients here in our attendee panel.
Thank you so much for hosting this and for attending it. We hope that you're able to have gathered a lot of really valid information. And this is, as agreed between Chisom and I, recorded. You were not recorded, but the screen was. So we are going to be posting this to our YouTube. So if you want to come back and review it, we'll post the link and you can review it. And hopefully, if you miss something, be able to get that information all over again.
We also have one other announcement before we wrap up this meeting. There is a short meeting, not a meeting, but like sort of an information session that will be presenting at 4:30. A bioinformatics scientist has agreed to meet actually one of our students who had requested me many times to meet a bioinformatics scientist. So there will be a short meeting for half an hour on this link. If you so choose to participate in that, please, you can come back here on this link at 4:30 p.m. Again, it will be a short session.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Can you say that again? What was that? A bio what? I'm not really hear that.
Bioinformatics. Information on bioinformatics.
Okay, it's biology now.